says a trained stunt diver is diving off a platform that is 15 meters high, so that's how high he is off the ground, into a pool of water that is 45 centimeters deep. The height in meters of the stunt diver above the water is modeled by this equation. So copy down this equation, where t represents the time in seconds after he starts the dive. Okay, before any time has passed, so 0 seconds, he is 15 meters high, and in the equation, that's c, which is the y-intercept. So 0, 15, I'll put it here. Okay, and then he dives. So does he go straight down, or does he go, when you dive, you go up and down, right? So it's going to look something like this. We are not dealing with the negative part of the graph because it's not possible to have a negative amount of time. You don't go back in time. So it starts at 0 seconds, 15. That is not the vertex though. The vertex is going to be somewhere here. Okay? So before we answer these two questions, look here. I want to figure out, just as a side question here, what's the highest point he reaches? He starts 15 meters above the ground because that's where the diving board is. Okay, so here's the guy, he's about to dive. And when you dive, you jump up, right? And then you go down. So let's figure out the vertex, which will tell us his maximum height. The maximum height would be which value of the vertex? The y value of the vertex. So if we have an equation in standard form and we want to put it in vertex form, we are going to do what? Complete the square. So everyone do that. Complete the square as practice. So how long is he above 15 meters? Now, because we completed the square for this question, we can do what to figure out the answer? He started 15 meters above the water, and then after how many seconds did it take him to get to his highest point? 0.2, and what was the highest point? 15.049, was it? So it was 0.1, sorry, and 15.049. So look here, the vertex was located at 0.1 and 15.09. So from here to here, okay, he's above 15 meters, right? Everyone agree he's above 15 meters? So he's above the 15 meter mark for 0.1 seconds, but is he still above 15 meters when he's coming down? For how many seconds? If a parabola is symmetrical, how many seconds is he above 15 meters when he's coming down? Another 0.1 seconds. So altogether, how long is he above 15 meters for? 0.1 plus 0.1 equals 0.2 seconds. Okay? We could have solved this without using the graph, and I'm going to show you how. Okay, yes, so now we need to know how long is he in the air. So he's in the air from here to here. Okay, so we need to know the x-intercept. We need to know the t-intercept. Where does he hit the ground? One of your t values will be negative, right? Because the parabola is symmetrical. So there will be an answer that's negative, whatever it is, okay? You omit that. We don't include, we wouldn't say he goes back in time. So whatever our x-intercepts are, using quadratic formula again, we're trying to find out when does he hit the ground. So what is the x-intercept or roots? Again, one answer will be negative, one will be positive. We're only going to use the positive answer in our final statement, because you wouldn't say that he's in the air for a negative amount of time. We only use a positive value, okay? So find the two roots. Because a is not equal to 1, I need to divide the first two terms by a. And then I'm going to have a new b value. So h equals negative 4.9 t squared. What's 1.2 divided by 4.9? So we're going to round it to one decimal place, 0.2 t. And I'm trying to complete the square, so we need to figure out c. Some of you on your quiz, we're not using, this is my B value now. This is the B value of the part that I need to complete the square. So C is equal to what? B divided by 2 squared. So what's 0.2 divided by 2 squared? Okay. So H equals negative 4.9 T squared minus 0.2T, and C is what? 0.01, and then we have to take away 0.01. Again, some of you forgot this step. In order to remove negative 0.01 from the bracket, I have to distribute A. Okay, we can simplify this now. H equals negative 4.9. And I'm going to factor my perfect square trinomial. We find the square root of the first term, which is T. We use the sign of B. Some of you messed this up on your quiz as well. If B is negative, I'm subtracting. What's the square root of 0.01? 0.1. 0.1. Oh yeah. Squared plus 15.049. Okay, so where's the vertex located? 0.1. 15, 0.49. Does this make sense? If his diving board was 15 meters above the ground, above the pool, and it took him 0.1 seconds to reach a height just above 50 meters, he probably didn't jump that high off of it, okay? So he jumped 0.049 meters. Okay, so checking on Desmos, our graph is accurate, and the y-intercept is located at 0.15. Okay, now we need to figure out, let's read the second part of the question. This is the original equation that they gave us, and now they're saying how long, you need to find T, how long is he above above a height of 15 meters? So I can plug in 15 here. If height is equal to 15, what is T equal to? How are we going to solve this? If height is equal to 15, this is another way you could do it without even using the graph. You wouldn't have had to complete the square. We can just plug in if his height is 15, so I'm replacing his height with 15. What is T equal to? So I'm trying to find the T value when the H value is 15. So you can use the quadratic formula because that will solve for T, or I could call this X, okay? You're used to seeing X. To solve for X, you've been doing this the whole chapter. If you have an equation and you're asked to solve for X, you can use quadratic formula. But the problem is my equation is not set equal to 0. So I need to set it equal to 0. So how do I do that? Rearrange. I need to get rid of this plus 15. So I have to take away 15 and set it equal to 0. I'm now putting it in standard form. So let's simplify this. What's 15 take away 15? So plus 1.2 equals 0. What is my A value? What is my B value? Positive 1.2, and C is 0. Use quadratic formula now to solve for T, X, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so this is the formula that we're using, and it's going to give us the length of time that his height is 15. Okay, so up to here, I can look at the discriminant, and I know that my answer will have 2 roots because the discriminant is positive. So what are the 2 roots? So T is equal to negative 1.2 plus, what's the square root of 1.44? 1.2. And T is equal to negative 1.2 minus the square root of 1.44. So we have T equals 0 and T equals 0.2 if we round it, approximately 0.2. Does this match what we found earlier with the graph? At 0 seconds, from 0 to 0.2 seconds, he's above 15 meters. Is that correct? Using the original equation, A is equal to negative 4.9, B equals 1.2, and C equals 15. Okay, so I have X is equal to negative 1.2 plus 17.2 divided by negative 9.8, and X equals negative 1.2 minus So what are the two roots? So we have x is equal to negative 1.63 and x is equal to positive 1.89. So we wouldn't use this in our answer because it's negative. So how long is the stunt diver in the air? 1.89 seconds. So his total dive is just under 2 seconds. From jumping off the diving board to getting into the water is approximately 1.89 seconds.